Okay, this one's pretty fun. It's a little bit complicated. There's some tedious parts to it. But how do you make a cupcake? I'm just going to draw the shell for you right now. We'll make another video of other parts to it. But the shell itself is like a real trick, and I got kind of a cool technique to share with you. So I'm sharing my screen. We're going to go to what else? SketchUp. And I want to just kind of show you how I went about building this thing. So you want to start with a couple of circles on the ground. Just draw both circles. Remember that when you grab a circle, you notice that down here in the bottom corner, I've got to get my zoom out of the way, it says size 48 in your little dimensions window. So that means that when you draw a circle, really you're drawing a 48-sided polygon, which means that if you zoom way in on this thing, you've got endpoints going around the outside, and you've got midpoints that you can find of those segments. So if I come back in with my line tool and say, give me my line tool, you'll notice it says you're on the endpoint there, and then I come up here and it says you're at the midpoint of that particular line. So that's how I went around here and made all these little lines. I know, it's like, oh my, do I have to do all that? Yeah, you kind of have to do all that in order to get all those little pieces. So then you get that part done and you go, cool, now I'm going to come back over here and just get rid of all those extra little segments, right? All those little pieces. You end up with kind of a sawtooth. You might find yourself thinking, why can't I just draw one little triangle and spin it around? And you can, but they're not all connected. So you kind of have to, do it this way. Well, there are probably other ways to do it. There's always other ways to do it, right? So then what I did was grab the saw and pull it, some distance up in the air, like some exact distance. I use 3 feet because of the size that I'm working at. But then what you do is you clone this circle on the inside and move it back down 3 feet. So now you've got two circles directly on top of each other, one right on top of the other. They're concentric, important. And then what you do is come back in here with your line tool and draw one little dude like that from this corner to this corner, and then down to the endpoint that's directly below that. Hope that's clear so far. Then what we're going to do is get this. So what I did was I grabbed that one segment, like that one right there, just double click on it to get it, and then get your rotate tool. If you roll over the edges of a circle, any circle, it'll say, oh, here's the center. You want the center? Snap. So cool. Then what you do is say, I want to hit my Option key. It's Control, I believe, on a PC. And then from there, say, I want to rotate that. Now, if you do the math on this and say, let's see, 48 pieces, but of course there's actually more than 48 because I just split those segments in half by making those little triangles. So you get the math and you say, that's a 7.5 degree. You can watch the little thing down below. In my dimensions window, it says that's going to move 7.5 degrees. So you want to move the whole thing, including the fill, 7.5 degrees, and then you say X 48 or 47, really, because you just got one. And it rotates around the entire thing, and it gives you all of those. I'm going to undo that so I don't screw this up. Hope that makes sense. So really what you're doing is from the center point there, you're moving all those pieces around. Then what I did was come over here and I got rid of all those extra little bits and pieces. We don't want that top. We don't need it any longer. So what I'm going to do is get my eraser tool and just come in here and go clink, clink, clink. Again, kind of tedious, but pretty cool when you're done. So I got all those guys gone. Then I came back in and I did the same thing with that piece on the right side. So there's that one going. Let me just get my H here and I can pan over. So then what I did was put another one. I made another one on the other side of that folded piece. So what we're getting is this kind of star-shaped crown at the top, and then it's smooth at the bottom, just like a cupcake. Then what we're going to do is, this is a really nice little trick. So if I go here and see this shape, it's open right there, right? I can see through there. So what I want to do is get my line tool, L for pencil, and what I want to do is put a shape right here. I'm going to click this endpoint of the circle and come up here to the very top and click there, and look at that. SketchUp just filled that in. So that is now a filled shape because SketchUp hates holes. And if you take the pencil tool into a hole and say, fill this in for me, it'll like, absolutely, I would love to do that. So now I've got one of those shapes, right? And you know the next thing I'm going to do is say, well, now you just go give me my rotate tool and X47, and now the whole thing is full. Isn't that cool? And then you go, well, okay, it's kind of, like it's kind of tall and I want the bottom to be smaller. All these pieces are connected on the bottom. So if you double click the bottom and say scale and tap your option key or alt on a PC and shrink it, you can change the size of that and all those pieces come along with you. Isn't that sweet? So then, of course, you can scale the whole thing down and make a group out of it. And then you go, wow, that's kind of cool, but what would it look like in Stager? It looked like that. So hopefully that's clear. I realized I was kind of going fast there. I didn't want this video to end up being the painful process of watching me click, click, click. It can get kind of slow and old. But hopefully that gives you enough information to make something really cool for yourself. So long.